with King Super's delivery and free pickup. So
to recap, the bruiser, we found it had a spun bearing. The engine had been seized. We took that cap off and we can at least roll the motor over, but the motor is pretty well toast. At minimum, it needs a new crankshaft and a new connecting rod for number 5, and we haven't really dug in any farther. At this point, we got really lucky. We were pricing things out, and it was actually, so we were looking for obviously a crankshaft and a connecting rod, maybe a piston to go with it just for good luck. We found a guy here on island, local guy, who had a motor, a complete motor that he was selling for cheaper than we could just get the crankshaft and connecting rod for. But the downside is it was out of the car. We couldn't see it run. He said it ran just fine, pulled the car uphill, everything else. But it has 220,000 miles approximately. The motor we pulled out of ours has 214,000, so both of them are over 200,000. These motors are known for going for 400,000 to 500,000 miles if you take care of them, but we don't know what's been taken care of. At this point, we've got motor number 2, we're calling it now. Motor number 1 was in the car. We took that one out. We split from the transmission, as you saw. We're kind of setting that one aside. We've got motor number 2. We've got it. Hopefully everything is good. We're going to test it, kind of do our due diligence, make sure that we don't stab a bad engine in. So we'll run a compression test and a cylinder leakage test, kind of give it a good once over. Hopefully everything's good. We can slam that into the car, and then we'll be good to rock and roll. Quite a bit. Let me just figure out where. That made it worse. That's interesting. When we do the cylinder leakage test, what we're doing is we're bringing the cylinder, whichever one we're testing, up to top dead center. So that means the piston should be all the way up, the valves, both the exhaust and the intake, should be closed, and we force air into it. When we're doing that, we're finding that we've got leakage. Air is escaping out of the cylinder, which it shouldn't be. And as you can see, we're listening. We're figuring out where that air is coming from. We're listening for the intake valves, the exhaust valves. If it's going past the rings, you can usually hear it under the oil cap. We're trying to figure that out. The next step is we end up putting smoke in the engine. So we force smoke in those same cylinders, and then we can visually see where it's coming out of. You see where that's coming from the bottom side. Which is bad. That means we need to remachine the heads. So as you saw, we ran a little short on luck. Our engine number 2 is a little bit toast. It rolls over, some of the components look fine, but we had 30% leakage past the exhaust valves. If we were to fix that, that means taking the head off, obviously, going and getting it machined, probably getting the valves recut in there, and that's more money than we want to spend on this situation. The plan from here on out is to take the good parts of engine 1 and the good parts of engine 2, and we're going to slam them together and hopefully have really good engine 1.2. We're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to use the lower oil pan from engine 2. We have to use the upper oil pan from engine number 1 because it has a relocated crank position sensor that we need to go with the body of our car. Then we're going to use the block, the crankshaft, connecting rods and pistons from engine 2. Then we will use the head from engine 1. I know the camshafts looked a little bit better from engine 2, so we're probably going to be using those. All the other components, you know, power steering, alternator, all those, we'll go by whichever one looks best, feels best. Hopefully we've got good bearings for everything. We'll get the whole thing together. I think once we get everything broken down, we'll probably paint it just to stop rust, to help spot leaks in the future. We'll go through and make it look as pretty as we can, get it together, and we'll go from there. When painting the engine, most people don't really think about this, but really the most important thing is to get a color that none of your fluids are. It's the best thing you can do while painting to make sure that when the engine's back together, if there's any fluid leaking, whether it's oil, coolant, you know, anything that's going to be coming out of there, automatic transmission fluid, that you can see it running down the side of your block. All right, we are calling it a day for this video. Basically, where you saw us get to, we got the engine stripped down, we got them painted, we got it mostly assembled. We've still got to do all the little stuff, get the intake manifolds, exhaust manifolds, all the accessories, get those on. At this point, we're a little bit nervous just because the 2 motors that we're building, we're going piecewise. We never saw either of them run. We did pick the best components from the 2, so hopefully we'll be good. Stick around, obviously follow the next videos. On the next one, we're gonna finish getting the engine assembled, get it stabbed back into the truck, hopefully test fire it, and by hopefully, I mean definitely test fire it, hopefully let it run. Stick around, should be exciting.